Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Inisa Day, and today's video I'll just be telling you guys my thought process behind this drawing. I started from the final sketch because the sketching stage can be so boring and I didn't want to bore you guys with my long process for sketching. I can take hours sketching, so I was just like, you know what, let's just go ahead with the good stuff. Let's start with the rendering stage. And here we are. I didn't really have anything in mind. I was thinking of different color palettes at this stage, trying different colors like flat colors and just seeing what works best, and yeah, just going with the flow. I didn't really have anything in mind. The only thing I knew was I wanted to draw a character in a staircase. I was inspired by this photo of a staircase of someone posing in a staircase, and I thought it'd be a really good idea to draw a character in a staircase, and obviously they have to be doing something. So I was like, oh, it could be a staircase in a library with a bookshelf by the staircase, so she's sitting on the staircase and reading because it's like easy access to the books. And that was my original concept, and I went with that and I started drawing. I did not realize how complicated books were. Like, drawing stacks of books are actually much difficult to do than I expected. Because it's one thing drawing a book, but when you draw a stack of book in this kind of environment, it's very hard to get the depth of the book. And I really wanted to create a cohesive color palette, and everything was just flat. No matter how much lighting, no matter what I did, it just looked so flat, and I didn't know how to fix it. I was struggling a lot with the books, so I would go from like drawing the background to drawing my character and trying to think of what to do with my background as drawing the character. I already made up my mind. I really wanted the bookshelves to be there. I wanted her to feel like she's actually in a library, but I didn't. The fact that I was struggling with the books were like a major concern for me. So I just was experimenting with lighting because I was hoping that, the more I bring lighting into the space, it will, be more of it can really help with the shape language, and it can really help you to understand what is within the space and what I'm drawing. But the book still fell flat. But I feel like the lighting design for the space was actually quite good. I was really pleased with how it was. I just needed to, work on the background texture a little bit, work on how I can make the books look more like books. I know I've been mentioning books a lot. It's like that was the entire process for me, just deciding what to do with the books. But yeah, the character obviously is very important. This is an existing character that I've created before, so the character design was not a big deal. I used a lot of like references to decide what kind of pose I want to give my character, but the character was the easy part, and the hard part was actually the background. And I'm not so used to drawing backgrounds. I have experience with interior design because I have a degree in interior design, but to actually render backgrounds is very difficult for me because when I was at university, we normally do a lot of photo bashing, so we didn't have to create backgrounds from scratch. We didn't have to render backgrounds from line work. So at this stage, I decided, to bring one of my images into this drawing and put it at the right side of the wall to create like a form of wallpaper. And obviously I edited the colors and the texture to make it blend with the environment. And the back wall, I also decided to scrap the bookshelf. Since I was struggling with the book so much, I decided to scrap the bookshelf and go with a LED lighting. And here, so what I ended up doing is just removing all the books that I created before and starting over again. And I decided to start with a blank canvas and just, create the books in a flat perspective, in a 2D perspective, and then use my transformation tool, the distort tool, to kind of transform the books to fit the perspective of the bookshelves. So doing this technique actually helped me. It's very difficult to explain without a demonstration, but doing this really helped me to create the depth of the books, and it helped me to make the books look more like books. One of the things I learned while I was drawing this conceptual art is to be patient and to think critically of, what step I'm going to do to create a realistic look in my drawing. So I tried my best to think of how can I make this as realistic as possible. How can I use my digital tools? How can I take advantage of my digital tools to create the effect that I'm looking for? And yeah, my transformation tool was like the biggest save for the books, and it's really helped me to create the books, to make the books look more realistic. And another thing that helped was also making the color, the books in different colors, different sizes, and different positions as well, rather than making it one straight line. I put it in different angles, different sizes of books, different colors, while still keeping the colors cohesive. And those things just really helped create that bookshelf, that organic look of a bookshelf. So here we are. As you can see, the bookshelf is starting to look a little bit more realistic compared to like 3 minutes ago. And just giving myself that time to, even though it might have taken me about 2-3 hours to do the bookshelf alone, to do the books alone, I think it was really worth it. Yes, it did take me so long. It took me that long, or maybe even longer. But I feel like it was so worth it to actually spend the time to render the books and make it look as good as possible. And because it's worth it at the end of the day. And yeah, I like speed paint. I like doing speed paint a lot. I don't like spending more than 5 hours on a drawing, but sometimes you have to spend over 20 hours if needed. I think for the process of this drawing, I probably spent almost 20 hours, or maybe like 17 hours to do. But I think it was well worth it because the end result is beautiful, and I'm really pleased with how it looks. And yeah, and well, another thing that was important for me was to make sure that my character doesn't blend into the background. So I knew that I had to create a very strong light source, and I directed this strong light source on our face, not on her face, but I directed a strong light source on her to make her stand out from the background. So without that light source, I felt like she would have been not as visible. But with the strong light source, I think it's made her stand out a lot, and she's actually the center of attention. So if you are creating a character, and if you want to add your character into a background, I think that you really need to consider the lighting for your character, and you have to make sure that you can really take advantage of your light source to make sure that your character stands out in the background. Because when you're drawing a character in a space, you really want your character to stand out. You don't want the character to blend into the background, especially if the character is the focal point. And the best way, at least one of the best ways to do it, is to create a strong light source on your character and to make sure that your character stands out from the other spaces. So even though the other background still has its own lighting and its own light source, it doesn't have that strong effect like the direct light source on her, because the light source of the other ones are more subtle and mellow. But because she's in a very, especially because she's in a very dark space, it was really important to make sure that there was a direct light source right on her head, right on top of her, so that she stands out amongst like the crowd, I would say. And yeah, right now I'm just experimenting with, like, I'm just trying out color variation, trying to blend the character into the space, trying to see what colors work best with each other, editing the colors, using color balance and adding some warmth into the space as well, and just trying things that will make the old drawing come together and look as cohesive as possible. The space was very cool, so I really wanted to add a warm light source into the space as well. And that's about it. You guys probably recognize this drawing is what I use for my end credits in the end of my videos. And I really hope you like this process. I hope you learned one or two things about the way I draw, and I hope you liked seeing my process, and I hope to do more of this later. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and yeah, bye bye.
I hit record a drop, you can't ignore it.